Welcome to Spiritually Imperfect, the show where the metaphysical meets the practical. This is your space to explore the mysteries of the universe, embrace spiritual growth, and connect with the energies all around us. No one spiritual journey is perfect, but that's the beauty of it. Hosts Mike and Jen bring their unique blend of perspective, humor, and heartfelt nature to every episode. Whether encouraging, facilitating readings, or diving into exploring mediumship, energy healing, or searching for clarity, Spiritually Imperfect is a place to where discussions of the collective experiences that we all share comes to the surface. Now, here are your hosts of Spiritually Imperfect, Michael Christopher and Jennifer Lee.
Good morning, everybody. So you may notice I'm here unsupervised again. Jen had to take the morning off, so you guys are just stuck with me today. So I hope that's okay. How's everybody doing this morning? We'll let everybody kind of roll in, and then we'll kind of get started on wherever we're going to go this morning. Morning, Cheyenne. Hello, Donna. How are you? Cornelia, Nancy, Lydia, good morning. Miss Kay. Morning, John. So I'm going to need your help this morning. You got to give me something to talk about. I did have a topic in mind right before I jumped on, but then I saw a shiny penny, and that thought is now gone. So good morning. So what I'm going to do probably today to start some things off, we'll probably do some cards. I have my angel deck. I also have these tea leaf cards. I've used them before. Good morning, Cheryl. So these are just quick, which might be good. I might be able to get through, more readings that way. And of course, I always have my Rebel deck on standby if we need a laugh. Morning, Dolores. Weird. So as I'm sitting here, I think I need to talk about intuition. That's just something that came to mind. So maybe we'll just start out with that this morning. I'm just curious, when it comes to intuition, what do you think that means? How do you interpret intuition? And how have you received intuitive thoughts or information? Has it been vivid when you've experienced it, or is it just like a quiet whisper? And I know we've talked about this before, but I think it's just a matter of trusting, right? And we've talked about trust before as well. But it literally is just a feeling of exactly, I think Lydia just said it. Yeah, of knowing it without being able to explain it. You just feel it. And then on the other side of that, why do we have so much trouble trusting that feeling? I know you've probably experienced where you've had the thought, maybe you shouldn't, like when you're driving, you want to take a turn, but there's something just instantly you feel like, don't take that turn. But you do it anyway. And then you find out why. Maybe you roll upon an accident or a road closure, something pretty innocent, but still, you had that thought, but you chose to ignore it. And I'm just going through comments. Yes, Nancy, you can tell something's off and before it happens. It's the same thing too when you've met somebody new. That first feeling. It's kind of like if that person vibes with you or not, right? I'm sure we've all had that feeling as well, right? And I know we like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but more times than not, maybe after you get to know this person, and I'm feeling it's more like in a work situation, right? A coworker, a new coworker. And it's not that they're a bad person, it's just, there's something inside that says, I'm not like compatible with this person. We don't vibe with them. And I know sometimes we try to fight it, but it ends up being, yeah, I'll just give this person some space. Morning, Carrie. Morning, Joni. Oh, you all have a job to do today, besides what I've already said in the beginning. So I mentioned yesterday in the post that I will be giving away one ticket to my mediumship demonstration that's happening on 15 December. So towards the end of the show today, first, find out if you're available on that day. So it's 15 December. It begins at 6 p.m. Central. So at the end, if you're able to make that, I'll ask at the end again. If you put yes in the comments, that we'll say that that's your way of telling me you will be available. From that, I will just randomly go through the comments and I'll just randomly pick somebody for the ticket. So we got that to do today. Hello, Melissa. I know, Joni, thank you. I seen that yesterday or the day before I got the notification. So I'm seeing some comments and questions already. So if you're new to this show, new to me, I'll just explain really quick. So I do not predict the future. And I've talked about this before. I do not believe the future is predictable. There's too many variables, including free will. So the questions about, will I get a new job? Will I meet this person? What, those type questions, I don't answer those. Again, I could tell you anything you want to hear, right? But it's a gut feeling, the same gut feeling that you have. Let me give you an example real quick. So a lot of questions that I see during lives, not only mine, but other people's, is, should I be with this person? Do you see us lasting? Is this person cheating on me? That goes back to my initial topic of intuition. If you're asking those questions about your partner, you already know the answer. There's something in the energy that's off, right? And it's hard to confront somebody on that. But deep down, you already know the answer. You already know if you're compatible with this person. You already know if something's off. You don't need a medium or a psychic to tell you what you already know. Yes, it's good to get the validation. But again, a psychic, and I can only speak for myself. I know there's people in the world that do predict the future. I have predicted future events, but they've been a byproduct of an intuitive reading where I'm connecting with somebody's energy. I'm just going by what I'm feeling with the person. And sometimes I have had feedback that, hey, you told me this was going to happen, and it happened. Maybe because it was part of their energy, that event was already in motion. I just happened to pick up on the vibration of it, if you will. And it just happened to turn out that way. But to say that I can absolutely predict the future, I will never say that, because I don't feel I'm one of those people that can do that. Again, when I connect to somebody's energy, for me, again, it's an intuitive feeling. I'm connecting with your energy, and I'm going to validate feelings that you already have about a certain topic, right? I can go back in your timeline. Let me try to give you an example. Then I'll move on. I will get onto some cards and some readings. But an example of, how I feel intuitive readings are helpful is to maybe get past some roadblocks that you're experiencing. One that comes to mind, I guess today, is about relationships. If a person's been in relationship after relationship after relationship, right, it never seems to work out. And it leaves people wondering, why is this happening? And again, this is just a random example, but it seems what happens when I connect with somebody's energy, I'm taken back into an earlier part of their life where maybe a father left the marriage, right? The father walked out on the family. So that right there instills trust issues, right? Abandonment issues, um, which, if not addressed, right, can fester, as you grow older, and it's just a part of your subconscious mind that you have trust issues. So maybe that is what's, you know, affecting your relationships now. So again, it's just going back, bringing that information to light, and giving somebody a point to go back and work on it, because that's something that has not been healed. Again, we're not, magicians as far as psychic readings. We're not going to do the work for you. We bring the information up in order for you to identify the problem and then take that step of healing that trauma. Does that make sense? And again, I feel a really strong feeling, or I'm sorry, let me start that over. Part of my job, I feel, is just educating people on what this work is about, at least for me. Again, it's not telling you what to do. Spirit will never tell you what to do. They will never do the work for you. We're here to do this work ourselves. But sometimes we need that validation that what you're working on at the moment is valid, right? So again, we have the work to do. And you've probably noticed that if you have a repeating issue that keeps coming up time after time, that's your intuition. That's your guides giving you that nudge that, hey, this is still, in a way bugging you, and you need to take care of it. And that situation will keep coming up until it's addressed and taken care of. So hopefully all that rambling made sense in some way. And my God, the comments are flying by so fast right now. So I am trying to keep up. Sonia, yes. Sonia saying, I believe energy and vibrations are very important. They are. That's our inner guidance, right? Those quiet little whispers that we tend to not pay attention to, but they're so important. And it's a big part of the work that I do, especially as a medium, because when I'm receiving information from your people on the other side, it's not like I'm talking with another human. Sometimes I wish it was that easy, but again, it's like it's learning a different way of communication, a different language, if you will, and it's quiet. And it seemed like in the beginning it was more vivid, maybe because I was new, and I've heard this from other mediums as well. It seems like once we start on this path, initially the information does seem to come through in a more vivid way, in a stronger way. The energy feels stronger with the communication, whether I'm seeing something in my mind or hearing a thought word or feeling emotion. It seems like it's very strong in the beginning. And I've heard the theory behind this, that as you move forward and you begin to trust those feelings, those emotions, the messages, spirit doesn't have to expand or expound so much energy to get the point across. It becomes more subtle. And I think it's just a way of conserving energy. And again, that's just theory, but I've definitely noticed that transformation from years ago when I started to now, that the information is very subtle. So I'm just looking at the comments. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. And Miss K, yes, Miss K says, I agree that if you don't make changes and do the work, energy won't elevate. Yes, and nothing will change. You'll stay in that same circle. Good morning, Jess. And Elizabeth, good morning. Wow, you guys are just killing it in the comments this morning. I appreciate it. And it's kind of strange. I don't do these a lot by myself, so it's kind of weird I'm talking to myself. But we're going to get into some stuff here shortly. Morning, Vicky. Okay. Why don't we get into some readings? So let me just explain how I work in case you're new. So everybody in the comments, we're all here together. We're all part of this. So I don't take requests in a setting like this. I let it just become spirit led. So if I'm doing an intuitive reading, I kind of just go to the comments and I see who I'm drawn to. Again, don't feel that you're being skipped. It's just that's how it goes in this type setting. It's more of a demonstration. So you're here, you're a part of this. If I feel drawn to you, there's a reason for it. And the same goes for those in spirit. I just let them come in. It's like they come up, they tap on my shoulder to get my attention, and I just start communicating with them. And then I find the person in the chat who they're connected to. So I hope that helps. Elizabeth, don't we all talk to ourselves? Yes. And I have a theory on that most of the time when we're talking to ourselves, we're actually talking to our higher self. I've had full-on conversations and somebody's answering. I don't know. Is there anybody else had that feeling or thought when they have those conversations with themselves? Do you ever stop and think, where's that information coming to or from? Because some of the answers I get are definitely not coming from this brain. I can tell you that. They're far too advanced. Right, Jess? Talking to ourselves is just a staff meeting. It definitely is. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to roll into this because it's the exact same thing when you're communicating with your people on the other side. We don't realize it. And I remember vividly before I knew I was a medium or knew that this was coming, or I started working with mediumship. I remember years ago having full-on conversations with my brothers on the other side. And it was usually when I was just doing something that, was keeping me distracted or just doing everyday tasks. I would find myself having a conversation with my brother. And a few minutes into it, I'd snap out of it and go, wow, what was that about? And it was a conversation. It was, whatever was on my mind, and Jason's coming to mind now, but we would sit and it was just like, I would say something and I would get an answer in my mind. And again, I feel that we got to get past not trusting that, because once you send out that invitation, you set that intention that you want to communicate with your person, they are there. And I know the feeling of you want it validated. You want it to come from an outside source just to make sure, you don't think you're losing your marbles. It's difficult. I shouldn't say it's difficult. It's hard to be objective when you're communicating with your people because you know them. You know what their responses would be. You know their mannerisms. So it's hard to separate your conscious mind from those conversations. And I've talked about this as well, is literally getting out a piece of paper and doing automatic writing, or at least a form of automatic writing where, you invite your person in and you got your pen ready, ask them a question. And this is where the learning begins with this process. Is it's going to seem very foreign. It's going to seem like you're making it up, right? But when you ask your person the question, write down what you're feeling, what you're receiving. Just write it out. Don't take time to think about it. Because it's the same thing with mediumship. If I allow my mind to analyze or think about what is coming through, that can distort the message because now my mind's in play and my mind will create a different scenario other than what the person in spirit is trying to communicate. So it's a very thin line, a fine line between giving exactly what I'm receiving and allowing my mind to get involved. And a good example of that is if somebody asks me a question during a session, and I usually, I shouldn't say usually, I do this at the beginning. I ask them, it's like, I don't take questions during the actual communication because then my mind will get involved. And that's when things go awry. I do leave time at the end for clarification or whatever. But again, when you're writing these answers down, don't think about it. Just write what you're feeling, write what the thoughts are, and you will be very surprised about the results. So yes. So if I'm going to give you all a homework assignment, okay? And please, of course, it's up to you whether or not you want to do it. But during this next week, until we meet next week during the show, do some automatic writing. Just try this exercise. And there's YouTube videos on it too. So if you need further explanation or a little bit more of a tutorial, look it up. But I want you to try it out. And then next week, if you're able to come back, I'd like to hear about your results. Let me know what happened. Did you get a message? Did you trust it? Did it make sense? It sometimes helps also to, do the automatic writing, ask them specific questions and write the answers. Make sure to write the question down as well so you can remember what did I even ask. But just do like 5 questions, and then write the answers and then put the paper away. Don't look at it after you're done. Let it sit for a couple days and then go back and just look at it and see how it feels. Does it resonate? I know, Cheryl, I did not like to do homework, but this one is a fun one. And Sonia, yes, thank you for the comment. She says, I love the name Spiritually Imperfect because that's what we are, right? When Jennifer and we used to have a different show. I can't remember what the show's name was, but it was, we had a copyright infringement, so we had to change the name. So my wife actually came up with that name, and it just fits because that's what we are, right? Nobody knows all the answers. I don't care how long you may be doing this work. I'm going to share an opinion about something. There's books that have been written, right, by other mediums that talk about what the other side is like. And again, that's their experience. Me personally, I don't know any more about the other side than you. And I mean that. Yes, I can communicate with spirit. Yes, they have shared things with me, but it's more about what's going on in our lives here. I mean, you can read about what other mediums have channeled about like what we do on the other side. And I'm not saying that is, that's not valid. I believe it is. But I believe that we're limited about what we remember. Because again, where we go it's not a strange place. We come from the spirit world. We go back. But I feel while we're here, it's kind of like we're not supposed to remember because that gets in the way of what we're supposed to be doing here in the physical world. Again, that's just my thoughts on it. And I really tried not to put too much time into thinking about what is it really like. I really don't care in a way because again, I know I'm going to go back to that, but I'm here for a reason. So I kind of concentrate on what I'm doing now. So there you go. Aaron, so Aaron's saying my struggle is that I seem to get conflicting answers. I think it's my brain getting in the way, but not sure how to separate them. Yes, and that's the fine line. And it just takes practice. It really does. And a whole lot of trust. Because, I mean, think about it. The way I envision communication with spirit working is, so we have those souls on the other side, which is right here. We're not separated from them. We share the same space, just a different vibration. So, in order for them to communicate, it's soul to soul. So, they're communicating with our soul, which is instantaneous. But then the human gets involved, right? Because we got to be able to share the experience, communicate it through our human. And that's where the work begins, because we have to learn how to separate our conscious mind from the information coming through. And again, it's those really quick, fleeting thoughts that we receive. We know they're there. And sometimes it's just a feeling. It's like knowing. Just a quick example, if I'm communicating with somebody on the other side and they want to talk about a swimming pool, I literally will see a swimming pool in my mind. Now, I don't know the story, but the person does that I'm communicating with, the human, my client. My job is just to take that information that comes through like instantaneously, give it to her, and then build on that story. So they may show me, and this is a valid example because I remember this. And the situation was that they had one of their children fall in the pool and had to be revived on the side of the pool. And I saw this. I saw the pool. So I said, I need to talk about this pool. And the next vision I got, which again was really, really fast, was somebody giving CPR on the side of the pool. And I talked about, I related exactly how I received it. I said, I see the pool, and now I'm seeing somebody being revived, and I see it's a small child. And the person said, yes, my 3-year-old fell into the pool and had to be revived. So it's that quick. So it's the same thing when you try this, when you're communicating with your people. You're going to just know the answer. You're not going to be able to explain how that came through, but just, again, trust it. Am I babbling too long? Is everybody still with me? See what happens when I get left alone? Nobody can reel me in. Again, I'm Italian Irish, and I will just babble about whatever comes to mind. And again, I love to empower people. If it was up to me, I would make mediums irrelevant because we're all our own mediums. So for me, teaching is just as important as doing the work, because I want you to understand that you have these abilities. You do. Everybody does. Okay, good. I'm glad that it's resonating with you. All right. So I'm looking here at my Rebel deck, and I just want to start off with this one. This is for everybody. And it's weird because when I did a live the other night, this is the card it ended on. And it's come up first thing. So it's telling you just to be effing grateful that things could be a whole lot worse. So that's the message to start out right now. That's for everybody. And if you have any other questions, I don't mind just chit-chatting too. I mean, yes, I love doing readings, but if today is about just trading information or just talking about topics that's on your mind, I'm absolutely fine with that. Oh, absolutely, Dolores. Dolores is saying sometimes it's the ego that gets in the way. Absolutely. And, our ego is there to protect us in a way, but it's that double-edged sword that it can get in the way. Because communicating with spirit to our human mind is completely irrational. And that's another thing, learning this work is you have to understand that this is completely irrational. And it's like You have to fight that. For me, it's a never-ending battle. It's always there. Yes, I've managed to quiet it, the more that I work and the more that I practice, but this is a continual learning experience for me as well. You know, we're never going to perfect it, but the more you work with it, the more you start to trust. And getting validation is very important, especially if you're a developing medium or just starting out. It's one thing to read about theories and read about other people's experiences, but until you actually sit down and start doing the work, I'm telling you, the first time you get a validation, it's like it's life changing. I mean, and I don't mean that lightly. I still to this day remember the first validation I got during my first class, and it completely changed my perspective on everything. Because I was like, oh my God, this actually makes sense to somebody. There's no way I could like conjure up the thought that just came through. Um, so again, hey Lynn, good morning. Exactly, Lewis. That's a good way of putting it. My sensitivity gets in the way. It does because your mind is trying to protect you. Again, it's like this is irrational. Where did this thought did not come from my mind. Where is this thought coming from? Right? And I'll tell you, no, I don't have all the answers. I can share my experiences and share my theory because Zach is saying, why trap ourselves here on earth by choice so limitedly? And I think it's for a purpose. Um, I've done a lot of research over the years, reading about past life regressions, reading about mediumship and psychic abilities and theory. And I believe we come here for a reason. We come here to advance our soul. And here's an example. Um, you can read about an experience that somebody else had, right? You can try to put yourself in that situation. Here's an example that just came to mind. When I was going through kidney failure and dialysis and all that, it's natural for human beings to sympathize with somebody and try to empathize with somebody that's going through that and say that they understand what's happening. And it's all meant from the heart. I know that. We want people to feel better. You can try your hardest to put yourself in a situation like that, but unless you're experiencing it, you have absolutely no idea. And I will tell you this from my experience going through that, the mental side of it was so much more difficult than the physical side. I learned so many lessons through that experience that I'm still appreciating, which sounds completely odd. But one of them is learning to live in the moment because I didn't know if I was going to survive that. And before I get off on a tangent, what I was coming back to the point I was trying to make about why we're here. We're here to experience those things so we can actually be in it, feel it, live it. Does that make sense? Because again, each one of you could read about somebody who's gone through kidney failure and waiting for a kidney, having to go through dialysis. But unless you're living it, you have no idea. And that's the same reason I feel we're here. We put ourselves in a situation to learn. Some lessons, if you will, are more difficult. But I believe that that's why we're here. We're here to experience that. And Jess, yes, I love that comment. Jess is saying, I have a theory that we keep reincarnating, excuse me, and learning lessons until we become ascended masters. And I've read about that at some point we kind of get absorbed back into the collective, which is source energy. And I've read that theory. Some of us are a lot slower at learning, so I probably will be coming back for eons until I finally get it straight. But yeah, that's why we're here. All right. So I'm going to pull I want to pull some cards. I want to do some mediumship too. But I want to, Tobin, I just got drawn to you, Tobin. I just saw you saying hello to Lynn, so I want to write your name down. I want to pull you an angel card. So Tobin, this one is for you. Let's see. Interesting, Tobin. So as I'm shuffling, I just felt somebody move into my awareness. I feel this is a younger female that just stepped into my awareness. This person, this female, feels like she would have passed early. I want to say 5 or under. I don't know if you can connect with anybody that has passed 5 or under. And Tobin, some of these get a little personal, but I'll just throw this out there, and I'll try to be sensitive about this and moving forward. But I actually feel that this may be a lost pregnancy, either yours or somebody in the family. Would you understand that? I almost feel like this person was 3. I don't know. I'm seeing the number 3. Okay. Just work with me for a second. Would that soul, I keep seeing, I feel she, would she be 5 today? Like this, around this time? Because sometimes they present to me like the age they would be at the time now. I do feel she is with a family member, and this is not uncommon, but I feel this would have been grandmother, but I'm seeing the name Virginia. And it's hard, it's not difficult to read for somebody, but when they have an experienced life, there's no real life validations that I give other than I just felt her step forward for you. So this female is just letting you know that she is still around you. But she came in so strong. That's what got my attention. I'm sitting here shuffling, and I felt this like strong energy. And again, I just feel like she's letting me know that she is not alone. She is with, I feel it's like grandmother on your side, like mom's side of the family. And I was getting the name Virginia. What I'm thinking of would be around 10. Okay, I may be off on the age, but again, this is just her way of letting you know that she is around you. And I'm just going to go with what I'm feeling. Do you have a son now? Because she's making me aware of a son that was born in the physical world. Because she wants me to talk about the son, which would be her brother. Okay. And where does the name Jacob? I'm seeing a J name associated somewhere. I just became aware of the name Jacob, but it's definitely like a J name. So again, that's the difficult part of these shows is I want to keep going, but I want to spread it out too because I only have an hour. So again, just take this as a way for you. I'm calling her your daughter because that's how she came through. That's your daughter's way of just letting you know she is fine on the other side. She sees what's going on in your life. Um, and she just shows me doves, which can just be a sign of love. So Tobin, I'm not even going to pull a card because, but thank you for being open. I know some of those can be difficult. That's okay. Sometimes I just get random names, so I just throw it out there as I see them. So thank you, Tobin. Good morning, Carrie. All right, I'm just scrolling back. Let's see here. Just Christy Wilson, are you still here, Christy? Morning, Stephanie. So I'll just give Christy a second or two to reply. And all right, I'm going to go into medium. Sorry, Christy, if you're still here, I'll circle back for a card. I have a male that just stepped into my awareness, so I'm going to work with him. So right away, he makes me feel that he would have passed in an accident, but he's making me feel that he was in, like, for his line of work was like a trade. So it's either I'm seeing as like plumbing, electrician, that type of work is what he is making me feel. He is making me feel that he would have passed in a car accident because I'm seeing that now. Christy, I'll get back to you. I wrote your name down, but then I had this person step in, so I want to work with him. I do feel, I'm trying to feel into how old he was at passing. I don't feel he was that old when he passed because he's making me feel right around 50. So somewhere in that age range, I just feel like either late 40s, early 50s. So I just want to stop there. I want to see if anybody can connect with this. So a male stepping forward. He does feel like he would have passed in an accident. I feel a car accident around him. And he's also making me feel like his work was like a trade, plumbing. Okay, Wizzy, I am doing spirit-led readings right now. So there's no list. So I'll just give it a few minutes to see if anybody can connect with this person. It does make me feel like I need to talk about the month of July. And I feel that's the month he would have passed in. Tobin, how do you understand, or can you just validate what I've already said? And again, it has to match, like I'm like 95% or more. So male passing in an accident, I'm seeing this vehicle accident, would have worked in a trade. Either I saw it as plumbing, but that could just be their way of showing me this is the type of work I was in. Again, I do feel that he would have been in like early 50s is what I keep feeling. Okay, Tobin, you can accept anything but July. Okay, let me just see what else comes up. And if this is resonating with anybody else, just take it. It's not uncommon for a couple souls to come through with the same information. If you feel this is resonating with you, take it. Let me just see where he wants me to talk about a birthday in November. That's fine, Tobin. That's kind of what I was feeling, that in those 50s, so that fits. But he's highlighting the month of November as well. He's also making me aware that he would have had asthma, because I just saw the word asthma in my mind, and I felt like I needed to talk about asthma. So if everybody could just hold comments except for Tobin right now, it just helps me get through the reading, because then I got to scroll back. So if everybody could just stop commenting just for a moment, let me just work with Tobin. Okay, November and asthma you can't take. Okay, let me just concentrate on your dad. He shows me the building of a new home. Because I just asked him, what do you want to talk about? And he shows me the building. So I don't know if that's something you're doing right now or an addition, but he wants me to talk about the building of a home. I definitely see construction. Okay. So I'm just reading your comment out loud so I can get it in my mind. Our last family home we built, this would have been our last memories as a family. Okay. That's just him giving me evidence then, just sharing a memory that you would understand. I'm feeling his personality too as well. Okay. It's sometimes difficult to put this in words because I get it as an emotion. I'm feeling that he was a highly intelligent person, but it made him uncomfortable. I'm also feeling like I don't know if he told silly dad jokes, but he's making me aware of that. So he's also making me aware, Tobin, and I'm just going to give you this as I feel it. Was your song? He's making me feel like your son was born after his passing. Would you understand that? I may be misunderstanding that, but he wants me to talk about your son. And he's also making me aware of playing cards as well. He's funny because he's making me feel like if he went to a casino, he knew how to count cards, like playing blackjack. I don't know. It's just a random thought he gave me. I guess it's your day today, Tobin. Because no, it was before. What he talks about. Okay. Did your son recently get a cut on his arm or a cut? You want me to talk about a cut. He says a little boo-boo. Okay. That resonates more because he wanted me to talk about the son's being born after he passed. That's just his way of letting you know that he is aware of that. And that's why he brought it up. But he also wants me to talk about somebody getting a cut, and I feel it's one of the boys. My nephew. Okay. So just let your family know he's here. He wants me to talk about a silly ornament that he would have put in the tree, because he's making me feel like you need to still put this silly ornament. I don't know if it's Elvis. I just got a flash image of an Elvis ornament. Take it for what it's worth, but I think he wants me to talk about the silly ornament that would have been put on the tree when he was here. I got one more thing, and then I'll kind of give you a message and move on. I know this is, and and if you're just joining in, everybody, welcome. I know it's kind of towards the end. Just working with Tobin right now, just to do this quick. I put an Elvis ornament on my tree. So funny. Okay, so that he clearly showed me the Elvis ornament. Oh, Stephanie, that's for you too. So take that as a sign as well, Stephanie, that your people on the other side are watching. Again, but this is pretty specific. So Tobin, I'm just going to move into a message really quick. First, he wants me to talk about his passing. That again, he wants everybody to know, like, he did not experience pain. And he just wants me to. He gives me this feeling that he had a fulfilled life, and he just gives me this feeling of being very proud of his family, not only when he was here, but what's happened after he has crossed over. And I think I'll just keep it there, just letting you know he is there. Okay. So hopefully the rest of that made sense, but that the Elvis ornament, or the silly ornament, is definitely stuck out in my mind. And I know Tobin's probably trying to type as fast as she can. I know it's difficult. You just told him yourself, Tobin. So whenever you think of your family or your dad, just know that he's there. And any thoughts that you send him, he hears, he feels. He's just saying too, be open to the messages he is sending you. He shows me a squirrel, so I don't know if there's. I'll just go with what I'm feeling, but he's making me feel like there's a squirrel that's around that you see, and it's almost like he's making me feel like that's his sign for you, or to you from him. And I got to say, readings on here are a whole lot different than when we're in person, or we can talk back and forth. They go a whole lot quicker, and there's more energy to it. So I do the best I can by reading comments. But there we go. Okay. So yeah, he probably has your dad's personality then. Good deal. All right. So we got a few minutes left. Boy, this hour went quick. Holy moly. So if you're just tuning in, if you want to listen to what I talked about in the beginning, it was about intuition, and kind of just led into a conversation about intuition and feeling, the feelings that we do from the other side. I want to pull a collective card for everybody, and then while we're here, as I said in the beginning, I'm giving away a free ticket to my event that's happening on December 15th at 6 p.m. Central Time. So, with that date and time in mind, if you're able to attend, go ahead and put a heart in the comment. Okay? I will then randomly pick somebody from the people that put the heart in the comment telling me that you're available on that date and time to win a free ticket. All right. I'm going to pull a card. So while you're putting the hearts in there, I'm going to pull a card because I want everybody to get something out of this today. So a collective. Okay, here it is. So it's angel number 919. You're ready to start a new chapter in your life. Be open to meeting new people. So new beginnings. All right, we're almost into the new year, so it's a time for new beginnings. Put all the BS conversations and the BS, ego aside. Make amends with people that you're close with. It just feels like that's what I need to say along with that message. It's almost like the pettiness isn't worth it. So there's that. So right now I'm going to go through the people that put a heart in the comments, letting me know that you're available. Okay. And I'm just scrolling back and forth, and wherever the mouse lands on, that's the person that's going to win the ticket. So let's see here. Where does it stop? It's like watching the Wheel of Fortune or if you're old enough to remember The Price is Right. I'm spinning the big wheel. You're not going to believe this. Carrie Wilson, Stringfield. It's you. Are you here, Carrie? If not, I'll reach out to Carrie afterwards. But Carrie, you won. I'm also going to give one away next week. Since we have next week, yes, before the event. So next Wednesday, I will pick another person. So tickets are available still. You can go to my website. The link's in my bio on my Facebook page. Tickets are $25. There's room for more people. So, I'd love to have you. And I know Carrie, so I'll reach out to Carrie afterwards. So I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Hopefully you got something out of this. Again, it was just me here solo, so there was nobody here to reel me in and keep me on track, but hopefully you got something out of it. I appreciate everybody being here. Jennifer and I, we both appreciate everybody that follows us. Your support means everything. So I wish you all a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central. So thanks again, everybody, and have a good day.